Real quick before this video starts, I have a Twitch channel where I stream Minecraft Bed Wars, as well as a VODs channel where I upload those streams. If you want to check them out, you'll get more free content and it really helps me out, so both links will be in the description. By the way, I stream once every 2 days. Now enjoy the video. I found a subreddit out there called AITA, also known as Am I the A-hole? In this Reddit, people basically share their life experiences where they might have done something controversial, or something like that, and people will basically ask the public for their opinion on it, and basically ask if they're the bad guy in this situation. Let me read you an example. Am I the a-hole for calling out my kid's future stepmom for treating me like a surrogate? Oh god, this one's gonna be great. I, 29 female, dated a guy, Joe, 30M, for 3 months before he left me to go back to his ex, Kim, who is 30 female. Right after we broke up, I found out that I was pregnant and now I'm at 24 weeks. I let him know when he was ecstatic. It turns out his girlfriend had fertility issues and would likely never be able to get pregnant. And he has always wanted to be a father. Getting back together was out of the question for both of us, so he was still with his girlfriend. Joe was only allowed at the initial appointment because of COVID-19, and we found out that I was having twins. According to Joe, when he told Kim she had a mental breakdown about her fertility and wanted to talk to me. I met them at their house, and Kim started saying that she wanted to be involved with the pregnancy because she would eventually be the children's stepmother. She started telling me that I needed to do a home birth and that I needed a formula feed so they could have the babies half of the week. That she wanted one boy and one girl, and that she wanted the kid to call her mama since they would be calling me mummy. I shut her down and said that I would make the choices for my children and my body and left. Kim continued to be overbearing and texting me about my eating habits, exercise habits, and that word about her job, and about how her job wouldn't let her take a maternity leave. At the virtual genetics counseling appointment she attended instead of Joe and took over the whole meeting, trying to talk to her about her family's history, which wasn't relevant. When it came for my 20-week level 2 scan, they allowed me one guest, and Joe suggested that I take Kim instead of him, which I refused to do. Joe did end up coming, and he found out the gender because I wanted to keep it a surprise for me so we could throw a gender reveal party. Okay, I gotta stop you right there. Gender reveal party is genuinely probably the worst thing you could ever possibly do. I need to make like a whole separate video on gender reveal parties in general, to be honest. I put a pregnancy announcement on my social media, and she put up an announcement saying that they were expecting twins the non-traditional way and how blessed she was. I was irritated, but I kept my mouth shut. Then she threw a gender reveal party and posted it on social media. I wasn't even invited. Okay, I gotta say, that is absolutely messed up. She also announced that she's having a baby shower. I commented on her post and I told her to stop treating me like a surrogate, that the kids weren't hers and that Joe didn't claim any custody of the kids until they were born. I then called Joe and reiterated all of this and stated that I will not be seeing either of them until we went out to family court, and that my mother would be birthing a partner. He and Kim and some of her friends and family are saying that I'm an a-hole, and her mother even called and insisted that I give one of the babies, like this is a parent trap. So am I the a-hole? Edit, I'm definitely getting a lawyer ASAP. Y'all have scared the S out of me, but I'm glad you did. Okay, I just gotta say right off the bat, what this mother, right, has to go through, the person who's giving birth to children, that is absolutely disgusting. I couldn't imagine, like, ever doing that to someone, like being a girl, right, and getting with someone, and then their ex is, like, having kids or whatever. I could not imagine doing that to someone. That is absolutely messed up. Like literally not even inviting her. This Kim person is literally treating this person like a surrogate, as she said. Like, it's absolutely messed up that someone would actually do that. The person who wrote this story is basically being left out of the whole thing, even though she's the one who's literally giving birth to the children in the first place. That's completely messed up, and I definitely think that you are not the a-hole for basically, I don't know, whatever you did, which is calling out your future kid's stepmom. Like, that is absolutely disgusting that you even had to address that in the first place. And how on earth are her family siding with her? Like, that's absolutely disgusting. Am I the a-hole for refusing to agree with my co-teacher and grade a student lower? Okay, here we go. Instead of doing many projects and assigning and grading homework for the 2020 to 2021 school year, I was given the opportunity to have one major assessment, so I chose to do so. My choice was to have the students spend August until April studying a country and culture and making a presentation on it. Google Slides, diagrams, poster boards, and written and drawn reports were all accepted. Obviously, not everyone had the chance to use updated material or has internet access, and so everyone used what they could get their hands on. My student, Danny, who did his project on the USSR and using an outdated book in 1987, he drew beautifully, he wrote, and he made 10 pages that he and I were very proud of. They were in his own words. He wrote about historical figures from the USSR, he talked about the military history, and he did a good job. Everything was correct from that time period, and he didn't have the internet or anything, so he used the resources that he had at home and to do his best, and he did just that. He could do the printing at home, so he cut out photos from an old National Geographic magazines when he needed to use the actual photos. I graded him for effort for the content, and it was 100%. He used what he could and he did what he could, and the USSR and Soviet culture was prevalent in Europe at one point. My co-teacher Melissa wants to grade him lower because the USSR doesn't exist anymore, but I completely disagree. Danny lives with his grandmother. He doesn't have regular access to the internet. He didn't have the ability to use the internet. He couldn't afford to print a lot of photos and make a poster board. He made a beautiful report and put a lot of care into it and deserves a good grade. She went to the principal to tattle on me, and I told the principal flat out that Melissa could choose to teach with someone else. What she was asking because I was hostile towards her teaching methods. A few other teachers have been telling me that I should have agreed with Melissa to keep the peace. I'm right because my 9-year-old student was counting on me. I don't need to placate my co-teacher's ego and let her on a power trip over a 9-year-old. Now, to be completely honest with you, I do agree with you there, and I don't think that you are the a-hole for giving this person a higher grade. I mean, your co-teacher obviously doesn't understand like the amount of effort it takes to not have internet access in a project where you're basically required to have internet access. Now, obviously this person could have done a better job on their project, but at the end of the day, right, like they didn't have internet access, like they were limited a lot. And I do get where the co-teacher's coming from, like obviously the USSR doesn't exist anymore, but if the project allows you to talk about something that happened like, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, then why does it matter? Like, I don't know why the co-teachers like to get involved in that sort of stuff. Like, if someone's getting a grade and they obviously deserve it because they put in a lot of effort, I think that should go through, because to be honest with you, I think schools should reward effort a whole lot more than like whether they actually did a good job or not. Now, that's not to say that someone could literally just slack off and say that they did a good job and say that they put in a lot of effort and get a good grade. Like, of course, some of the project has to do with whether you actually did a good job or not, but at the end of the day, like, especially for a 9-year-old, if you put in so much effort into something and get a terrible grade out of it, it just makes you feel like trash. Especially for this person, because they literally physically couldn't do anything about it. So no, I do not think that you are the a-hole for this. Am I the a-hole for calling my friend desperate and leaving her by herself? I, 21F, used to date this guy Connor, 25. Connor and I met through some mutual friends and dated for around 7 to 8 months. He broke up with me and I immediately moved on to one of my best friends, Millie, 28. It was hard to watch. It strained my relationship with Millie for a while. She'd constantly remind me that they were dating, and at the time it was very hurtful. However, during that time I met my current boyfriend, Matt, 21. After Matt, the comments stopped meaning anything. I was able to fully accept things. My feelings for Connor disappeared, and eventually I was fully able to move on and be happy. I mended my relationship with Millie as well. I now live with Matt about a year together. I wasn't able to introduce him to anyone, but I got around to it a few months ago. The moment I introduced Matt, Millie began making the weirdest comments. Things like, ooh, OP, you and I have very similar tastes, and be nice to him, or I might just have to take this one too. It was super uncomfortable for both me and Matt, so I texted her after, basically saying that the comments weren't appreciated or appropriate. She told our mutual friends about it, and it was split up between her being wrong and telling me I was overreacting. She even apologized, but the jokes continued, just more subtle. It was easy to just brush them off. She called me a few days ago begging us to come over. Apparently Connor had dumped her and she was having a mental breakdown in the apartment. We showed up, saw the place was a mess, and I told her to have a shower while we straightened up and ordered dinner. She calls help from the shower. I go to help her, and she in her robe with it fully open. The second she sees me, she closed the robe and acting like nothing happened. I didn't know what to think, but as the night went on, it just got to be a lot. She wouldn't get dressed out of the robe and almost kept exposing herself. It got a little late and she suggested that I go home. I asked if she was okay with this. She said yes, and so I began to pack up with Matt. She asked if Matt could stay with her, and I told her that she felt unsafe alone, that she could be with us. She restated that she needed Matt, and I snapped. I called her a desperate little bee and shortly left after with Matt. She was crying and we left, but I didn't care anymore. She kept calling us, but we refused to go back. Yesterday we found out that she had a full meltdown after we left and didn't show up to work for 5 days. Her sister came to check on her and found the house to be an absolute mess. Millie told them we left her alone and she begged us to stay. I told our friends my side, and most of them were saying that I did the right thing, but her sister and some of her friends were saying that I'm an a-hole for leaving her when she was clearly in a crisis. Honestly, I'm beginning to think that I should have just sucked it up and held my tongue. AITA though. Now, to be honest with you, there are definitely two sides to this. Like, I do understand like heartbreak is such a bad thing. Like, if you've just been completely broken by someone, of course you can lash out and say some things that that are completely stupid, like, oh, can your boyfriend just stay with me instead? But to be completely honest, I can understand how that's justified. Like, if this person's being annoying to you for literally like years on end, and now they're just asking for help because the person that literally she stole off her has now broken up with her, I can understand where this person's frustration comes in. So to be honest, I don't think that you're an a-hole, but I definitely do think that you could have handled that a little bit better. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed that. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.